Mic test, mic testing. So, hello everyone, welcome back to UGC NET 60 days, 60-minute challenge, where we'll be studying for 60 days the topics of UGC NET Management for 60 minutes. We have completed units 1 and 2. So, today in 18 days, so we are going to start with unit 3 today for studying. So, let's get started. Oh, we had to make these changes which we haven't made till now. We'll make it soon, let's say. Maybe for tomorrow we'll keep these changes that need to be made. So yeah, let's get started. Human resource management concept. uh, what are the different human HRM concepts that are covered? First is personal management. It focuses on profit maximization contributing by contributing by the people. Personal management is a traditional approach that sees employees as tools for productivity and emphasizes administrative functions to support profit goals. So, personal management focuses on profit maximization by contributing by the people. Personal management is a traditional approach that sees employees as tools for productivity and emphasizes administrative functions to support profit goals. What next is human resource management, developing attitude of the people for their best contribution. Human resource management is developing attitude of the people for the best contribution. HRM focuses on developing people, aligning their goals and with organizational objectives and maximizing their contribution through motivation and skill development. Okay. Industrial relation, managing employee-employer relations amicably. Industrial relations refers to maintaining harmonious relation between employers and employees, dealing with union disputes and negotiations. International HRM, managing human resource challenges of international operations. IHRM is about handling HR functions across countries, considering cultural, legal, and geographical differences in global organizations. Managing human resource challenges of international. HRM is about handling HR functions across countries, considering cultural, legal, and geographical differences in global organizations. So these are all the different terms. First is personal management, where humans are only seen as tools of productivity and to generate profit. If you start caring about humans, it becomes human resource management, where you are trying to develop the attitude and people for the best contribution. Then comes industrial revolution, that is on a mass level. How do you maintain harmonious relationship between employee and employees, dealing with unions, dispute negotiation? And then comes international human resource management, managing human resource challenges of international operations. IHRM is about handling HR functions across countries. So mark as complete. EHRM. EHRM, Electronic Human Resource Management, refers to the integration of web-based technologies to carry out human resource management functionality. And what is human resource? हमने अभी पढ़ा. It is to bring out the best in people, their productivity, their attitude, their overall well-being. Some of the key implications in EHRM include online job posting, application tracking, digital CV screening, selection, online assessment, digital interviews, background checks, using softwares, training, e-learning platforms, virtual workshops, learning management systems, etc. These are the core HR functions. These are the core HR functions that EHRM automates or digitizes to increase efficiency, reduce paperwork, and improve accessibility. Implementing EHRIS. Implementing Human Resource Information System is a structured approach. The correct sequence is inception of idea, feasibility study, selecting a project team, defining requirements, and vendor. Here you can see defining requirement comes later. First comes inception of idea, then feasibility study, then selection of project team, then last vendor analysis. So this is also done. Career management process. The correct sequence of career management process is follows. Strategy. Define the organizational career management strategy or goals. Assessment. Assess employees based on interest, values, and personality. Last will always be C evaluation. Planning development. Okay, you first as create a career plan. I feel it could even be like the strategy, planning. Okay, मुझे ऐसा फील होता है कि ऐसा भी एक सीक्वेंस बन सकता है कि फर्स्ट टू डिफाइन द स्ट्रेटजी, देन करियर प्लानिंग, देन असेसमेंट, देन इवैल्यूएशन, देन डेवलपमेंट. ऐसा भी हो सकता है. सो आई एम नॉट श्योर अबाउट दिस. We'll see it ahead. We will not mark it as done. HR analytics. HR analytics, also known as people analytics, is the process of collecting and analyzing HR data to improve decision making and organizational outcomes. It uses data to support and influence key HR decisions. Look at HR planning. HR analyst forecast workforce supply and demand, identify skill gaps, and improve strategic manpower planning. Second, succession planning. Analytics can track leadership potential, performance trends, and readiness by helping in identifying successes for key roles. Track leadership potential, performance trends, and readiness, helping in identifying. Hiring. Data on candidates, sourcing, selection ratios, and time to hire helps improve recruitment strategies. Data on candidate sourcing, selection ratios, and time to hire helps improve recruitment strategies. Performance helps in identifying high performers, measuring productivity and linking individual performance to business outcomes. High performers, measuring productivity and linking individual performance to business outcomes. Compensation and rewards analyzes pay equity, reward effectiveness, and retention to design better compensation. HR planning, succession of planning, hiring, performance, compensation, and rewards. Now, human resource planning, recruitment, selection, induction, training, development. This is what we are. Human resource planning is primarily concerned with ensuring the right number and type of people are available at the right time to fulfill organizational objectives. Its main objectives includes preventing overstaffing or understaffing, ensuring employee availability, providing direction to all HR activities. Is primarily concerned with ensuring the right number and type of people are available at the right time to fulfill organizational objectives. Its main objectives are prevent overstaffing and understaffing, ensuring employee availability, providing direction to all HR activities like recruitment, training, and succession planning. This is done. Human resource demand, need forecasting technique. First, we studied human resource planning. Now, this is human resource demand forecasting. Refers to the process of estimating the future. Now, human resource planning is overall picture where you make sure that you are not overstaffed or understaffed, the right amount of employees available at the right time. Correct? What this human resource demand forecasting techniques do? Human resource forecasting refers to the process of estimating future resource needs of an organization in the terms number. This is just the planning part, that how many or how much how many people will be required. It helps ensure that the organization has the right people in the right place at the right time. There are two methods, qualitative and quantitative as usual. In qualitative techniques, we have the Delphi method. A panel of experts answers questions in multiple rounds. Responses are summarized and redistributed to reach a consensus. Useful for long-term forecasting and strategic decisions. Quantitative technique based on numerical data and models. Trend analysis examines Ratio analysis uses historical ratios employees per unit of output to forecast future demand. Historical ratios employees per unit of output to forecast future demand. Regression analysis, statistical method that identifies the relationship between manpower and other variables. Examines past ratio analysis uses historical ratios to forecast future demand. Regression analysis, statistical method that identifies the relationship between manpower and other variables like sales, volumes, or production. Markov analysis, the flow needs by analyzing employee movements through different job states. Here's how the steps relate. Determine the time that should be covered. Markov analysis. Determine the time that should be covered. Yes. Time frame selection. 1 year, 5 years is essential to track and predict a personal movement. Establish categories to which employees can be assigned. Employees are classified into job states like junior, senior, resigned, promoted, etc. to analyze movement. Count annual movements among states for several time periods. The core of the flow model involves tracking historical employee transitions between states over multiple periods to forecast future movement. We'll estimate the probability of transition. Yes, the flow model specifically involves estimating transition probabilities. How likely an employee is to move from one category state to another. Gap analysis identifies the difference between the current HR supply and the forecast HR demand. Gap analysis is not a human resource demand forecasting technique. It is a post-forecasting diagnostic tool. Gap analysis is used. And forecasted HR demand. Gap analysis is not a human resource demand forecasting technique. It is a post-forecasting diagnostic tool. Gap analysis is used. Compare HR demand forecasted and HR supply available. Identify the gap shortage. Gap analysis. Okay. सो हमने ओवरऑल क्या सीखा. ह्यूमन रिसोर्स प्लानिंग होता है टू इंश्योर अंडर स्टाफिंग नहीं हो, ओवर स्टाफिंग नहीं हो, तो उसके लिए डिमांड प्लानिंग भी करनी पड़ती है. ह्यूमन रिसोर्स डिमांड प्लानिंग. सो ह्यूमन रिसोर्स डिमांड प्लानिंग करते हैं तो उसमें फोरकास्टिंग आता है. फोरकास्टिंग में क्वालिटेटिव क्वांटिटेटिव टेक्निक्स आती है. क्वालिटेटिव में डेल्फी मेथड है, क्वांटिटेटिव में ट्रेंड एनालिसिस, रेशियो, रिग्रेशन, मार्कोव एनालिसिस. एंड उसके बाद एक बार वो हो जाता है तो गैप एनालिसिस करते हैं. हाउ डू वी स्टडी द गैप बिटवीन द करंट HR सप्लाई एंड फोरकास्टेड HR डिमांड. It is a post processing diagnostic tool. नेक्स्ट सिलेक्शन प्रोसेस. फोरकास्ट तुमने कर लिया, देन यू नीड टू सिलेक्ट ना. तुमने प्लानिंग कर ली है अभी फोरकास्ट करके, तो अभी तुम क्या करोगे. रिक्रूटमेंट एंड सिलेक्शन. सो वी गो टू सिलेक्शन. The selection human resource selection is concerned with applying appropriate techniques to select a candidate. The selection process in human resource management follows a systematic sequence to ensure the most suitable candidate is hired. Here is the standard order: application, blank application, review, initial interview, employment test, final interview, checking references, physical examination, medical checkup, hiring decision. Done. So see, ये normal, everyone knows what will be the normal selection process. इसका आइडिया जब सबको जनरली होगा. ब्लैंक एप्लीकेशन होता है या बेसिक एप्लीकेशन रिव्यू होगा, इनिशियल इंटरव्यू होगा, एम्प्लॉयमेंट टेस्ट होगा, पर्सनालिटी स्किल टेस्ट, फाइनल इंटरव्यू होगा, चेकिंग रेफरेंस होगा, फिजिकल एग्जामिनेशन, मेडिकल चेकअप, हायरिंग डिसीजन होगा. अभी जब आपका इंटरव्यू लिया जा रहा है तो क्या चीज़ देखी जाती है. In a professional and effective interview process, certain practices should be avoided by interviewers to ensure fairness, objectivity, and comfort for the candidate. What should be done? Establish an easy and informal relationship. Analyze career and interest to reveal strength, weakness, and pattern of behavior. Encourage candidates to talk. What should be avoided? To ask leading questions and plunge too quickly into demanding questions. This can make the person uncomfortable. So, see, इस्टेब्लिश एन ईजी एंड इनफॉर्मल रिलेशनशिप, इससे तुम्हें आइडिया होगा कि वो जब टीम में आप उसके साथ काम करोगे तो कैसी फीलिंग आएगी। एनालाइज करियर एंड इंटरेस्ट टू रिवील स्ट्रेंथ वीकनेस एंड पैटर्न ऑफ बिहेवियर, ये भी आप कर सकते हो टू फाइंड आउट कि कैसा पास्ट परफॉर्मेंस कैसा है, उसकी स्ट्रेंथ क्या है, वीकनेस क्या है। एंड ही विल मोर, वो आपके साथ मोर ओपन होगा जब आप इनफॉर्मल और इजी रिलेशनशिप होगा। और एनकरेज कैंडिडेट टू टॉक, ताकि आपको उसके बारे में ज़्यादा पता चले। जो ज़्यादा बात करते हैं वो अपने बारे में ज़्यादा इन्फॉर्मेशन देते हैं। सो ट्राई टू एनकरेज द कैंडिडेट टू टॉक। What should be avoided? Asking leading questions. Leading question is, "Hmm, तो आप यहाँ काम करना पसंद करोगे, करेक्ट? दिस इज अ लीडिंग क्वेश्चन। ये तुमने उसे चॉइस नहीं दी सिलेक्ट करने को, तुमने पहले से एक सिलेक्ट कर लिया उसके लिए आंसर, और आप बोल रहे हो क्या तुम्हें ये पसंद है। सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल, तो यू आर रेडी टू वर्क इन 4 प्रोजेक्ट साइमल्टेनियसली इफ यू गेट द जॉब, करेक्ट? ऐसे क्वेश्चंस नहीं पूछना चाहिए। द क्वेश्चंस दैट शुड बी आस्क्ड इज, क्योंकि वो लीडिंग क्वेश्चंस आस्क करने से वो हाँ हाँ ही बोलेगा। यू शुड आस्क, क्या आपको एक प्रोजेक्ट में काम करना, पूरे टाइम में फोकस करना प्रेफर होता है, या आपको दूसरे अलग अलग प्रोजेक्ट्स में काम करना है और वेरिड एक्सपीरियंस चाहिए, और या आपको स्पेशलाइजेशन करना है, एक ही प्रोजेक्ट में काम करना है जो बड़ा हो, ताकि आपको इन डेप्थ नॉलेज मिल सके। सो दिस इज a normal, this is not a leading question. Here user can choose as he prefers it. Plunge too quickly into demanding questions. So first you have to be easy and informal, otherwise वो आपको अपनी स्ट्रेंथ और पैटर्न ऑफ बिहेवियर बताने में हिचकिचाएगा। फिर यू वोंट गेट टू नो द पर्सन, वो सिर्फ जो चाहिए आपको वही पता लगेगा। काम करना है, हाँ काम करना है, 8 घंटा करोगे, हाँ करूँगा। कोई भी प्रोजेक्ट में करोगे, हाँ करूँगा। सो डिमांडिंग क्वेश्चंस शुड बी लेटर, जब आपको आइडिया मिल गया है कि वो बंदा किस तरीके का है। एंड इज ही फिट फॉर और शी फिट फॉर द जॉब। Training need assessment technique. Training need assessment is the process of identifying the gap between current performance and the desired performance. It helps organizations see, यहाँ हम देख सकते हैं इंडक्शन के बारे में हमें कुछ नहीं पढ़ा, ऑन बोर्डिंग प्रोसेस। एंड इंडक्शन के बाद ट्रेनिंग आते हैं। सो ट्रेनिंग इज अ प्रोसेस ऑफ आइडेंटिफाइंग गैप बिटवीन current performance and desired performance of employees. It helps organizations determine whether training is needed, what kind of training is needed, and who should be trained. So levels of training needed now. Assessment. Organizational analysis, task analysis, person analysis. First is organization analysis, assessing training needs in alignment with organization goals, strategy, and resources. Task analysis identifies the specific skills and knowledge needed to perform a job. Individual analysis determines who needs training by comparing individual performance with required standards. Techniques, levels of training, common TNA techniques, qualitative techniques and quantitative techniques. Qualitative techniques, interviews, discussions with employees, supervisors, or HR to understand training gaps. Questions can be modified. Questionnaire surveys. Structured tools to collect information. Common uh, training need assessment. Interviews. Discussion with employees, supervisors, or HR to understand training gaps. Questionnaire surveys. Structured tools to collect information from a large number of employees. Group discussions to identify common issues and training. Directly observing employees on the job to assess skill gaps, generate data relevant to work environment, using past performance records to identify development areas. Quantitative techniques, a database of employees' current skills used to compare against job requirements. A database of employees' current skills used to compare against job requirements. Comparing required competencies with existing employee capabilities. Comparing required competencies with existing employee capabilities. Technical or psychological test to measure knowledge or skills or attitudes. Online technology objective. Online assessment and tools can gather data that is structured and quantifiable, ensuring objectivity in evaluation. So there are three levels of training: organizational analysis, task analysis, or personal analysis, job or individual. Common TNA techniques: qualitative, quantitative. Quantitative, let's study skills inventory, a database of employees' current skills used to compare against job requirements. Job competency model, comparing required competencies with existing employee capabilities. Assessment test, technical or psychological test to measure knowledge, skills, or attitudes. Online technology objective, online assessment and tools can gather data that is structured and quantifiable, ensuring objectivity in evaluation. So training training need assessment technique. A training need assessment is a process of identifying the gap between the current performance and result. Training methods. The demonstration method is a practical visual training approach where a trainer shows. Now first training methods we come to. On-site, off-site training, training methods, induction. Okay, induction is also there. Induction will keep of types of orientation. We can keep above and develop it. Okay. Training methods. The worker demonstration method is a practical visual training approach where a trainer shows how a task is done, followed by the trainee replicating it. This method is highly effective for teaching manual or technical skills, training new or unskilled workers, ensuring consistency and accuracy in task performance. It is widely used in industrial training, assembly line jobs, and machine operation, where learning by watching and doing is most effective. The demonstration method is practical, visually training approach, where a trainer shows how a task is done, followed by the trainee replicating it. This is highly effective for teaching manual or technical skills, new or unskilled workers, or ensuring consistency and accuracy in task performance. It is widely used in industrial training, assembly lines, and machine operation, where learning by watching and doing is most effective. Supervisor, typically trained using coaching, job rotation, or mentoring, focus on communication Training a supervisor typically trained using coaching, job rotation, or mentoring, focusing on communication, supervisor, and leadership, not manual skills. How to train workers? Now we are seeing how to train supervisors, typically trained using coaching, job rotation, or mentoring, focuses on communications, manual skills. How to train managers? Requires training in decision making, strategic thinking, leadership, etc., using methods like case study, seminars, role playing. How to um, train senior executives? Focus in strategic development, innovation, global thinking, trained through executive development programs, workshops, or action learning, not demonstrations. So this is the different ways you can teach. Basically वर्कर को तुम्हें हाथ से सिखा दिखा के करना पड़ेगा, सुपरवाइजर, मैनेजर और सीनियर को अलग अलग मेथड से. सुपरवाइजर होगा तो कोचिंग, जॉब रोटेशन, मेंटरिंग, मैनेजर होगा तो डिसीजन मेकिंग, स्ट्रेटेजिक थिंकिंग, एंड सीनियर को और बड़े लेवल पे स्ट्रेटेजिक थिंकिंग नहीं, डेवलपमेंट, डिसीजन मेकिंग नहीं, इनोवेशन एंड ग्लोबल थिंकिंग. सो थोड़ा बड़ा बड़ा लेवल पे. ऑन साइट एंड ऑफ साइट ट्रेनिंग क्या होता है सबको पता होगा. ऑफ द जॉब ट्रेनिंग refers to training that takes place away from the actual work environment, allowing employees to focus solely on learning without the presence of job responsibilities. Methods of off-the-job training: lecture, simulation, and laboratory. Suppose now we are studying about UGC NET Management. आप एक कहीं पे असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर की पोजीशन पे पढ़ा रहे हो इंडिया में कोई एक यूनिवर्सिटी में. नाउ व्हाट हैपेंस इज आप ट्रेनिंग के लिए सपोज कहीं यूरोप में जाते हो ट्रेनिंग के लिए फॉर अ 2 week वर्कशॉप, 1 month वर्कशॉप टू स्टडी अबाउट योर डेप्थ इन डिटेल. सो जो कैम्ब्रिज है, ऑक्सफोर्ड से रिलेटेड वर्कशॉप करा रही है, आप अटेंड करने जाते हो सीखने के लिए. सो द लेक्चर, सिमुलेशन एंड लेबोरेटरी, दिस इज ऑफ द जॉब ट्रेनिंग कि आप सोली लर्न कर रहे हो, ठीक है, और वो आपके जो वर्क एनवायरनमेंट है उससे डिफरेंट है. दीज आर क्लासिक ऑफ द जॉब टेक्निक्स. Lectures provide theoretical knowledge, simulation, mimic real scenarios in control setting, and lab training offers hands-on practice away from the workplace. Role-playing, vestibule training, and video presentation, also of the job methods. Role-playing enhances interpersonal skills. Vestibule training is conducted in a simulated environment resembling the workplace, and videos are used for knowledge transfer or demonstration. Role-playing, vestibule training, and video representation, also of the job methods. Yes. Now, on the job training method क्या होता है? जॉब रोटेशन एंड कोचिंग. दिस वी कैन अंडरस्टैंड कि आपको जॉब रोटेशन एंड कोचिंग, आप एक टीम के मैनेजर थे, आपको दूसरी टीम के मैनेजर बना रहे हैं. जॉब इंस्ट्रक्शन ट्रेनिंग. ऑन द जॉब मेथड वेयर सुपरवाइजर्स और ट्रेनर्स गाइड एम्प्लॉयज थ्रू टास्क डायरेक्टली एट द वर्क प्लेस. सो ऑन जॉब एंड ऑफ साइट ट्रेनिंग हमने स्टडी कर लिया. नाउ कम्स इंडक्शन, जो हमें पहले पढ़ना चाहिए था. विल सी. सीरियल इनोवेशन ओरिएंटेशन इन्वॉल्व्स, ये डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ ओरिएंटेशन है इंडक्शन के विच कैन हैपन. Serial orientation involves assigning a mentor or experienced employee to guide the newcomer. That is called serial orientation. Disjunctive orientation, the newcomer is not given a role model or mentor. Disjunctive. Divestiture orientation, the opposite of investiture. Seeks to strip away all old behaviors, values, and reshape the individual to fit organization norms. What is investiture orientation? It is a type of socialization approach used in onboarding. Recognize. Okay, we need to rearrange this. We'll write here. Rearrange induction chapter and also the matter. Investiture orientation is a special type of socialization approach used in onboarding orientation programs where the organization recognizes values and affirms the personal characteristic, experience, and traits the newcomer brings to the job. Seeks to reinforce and invent in those existing qualities rather than reshape or change them. So suppose आप के कंपनी में आप लेट्स से कंप्यूटर साइंस वाले को ले रहे हो, तो वो जो नई टेक्निक्स लाएगा आप वो सीखना चाहते हो, तो इन्वेस्टिचर ओरिएंटेशन, यू विल प्रमोट दोस कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स. लेट्स से मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग करके एक बंदा है, आपकी फर्म लेट्स से 50-80 साल से पुरानी है. सो नाउ ही ब्रिंग्स न्यू टेक्निक्स वट एवर ही हैज़ लर्न in the syllabus that has been taught to him, if it is up to date with the contemporary times. सो वो वैल्यूज़ वो लाएगा. सो आप इन्वेस्टिचर ओरिएंटेशन, यू प्रमोट दोज वैल्यूज़ और कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स. डाइवेस्टिचर ओरिएंटेशन क्या होता है? A diverse teacher orientation is the opposite of investiture, seeks to strip away old behaviors, values, and reshape the individual to fit the organization norms. द अपोजिट ऑफ इन्वेस्ट टीचर सिक्स के जो भी नई वो वैल्यूज आएगा तुम भूल जाओ, हम सिखाएंगे. एग्जाम्पल मिलिट्री रूल. जो भी आप सीखे हो भूल जाओ, हम आपको सिखाएंगे. और सीरियल इनोवेट और सीनियर और डिस्ट्रक्टिव में क्या फ़र्क है? सीरियल ओरिएंटेशन आपको एक मेंटर दिया जाएगा, डिस्ट्रक्टिव में कोई मेंटर नहीं दिया जाएगा. दिस इज़ वेरी बैड. डिस्जंक्टिव ओरिएंटेशन इज़ द, यू कैन से, सबसे बुरी है इन चारों में से, क्योंकि ना आपको मेंटर दिया जा रहा है, ना आपके ओल्ड वैल्यूज़ भुला के आपको नई ट्रेनिंग दी जा रही है, ना आपके न्यू वैल्यूज़ को प्रमोट किया जा रहा है. So we'll just rearrange this, okay? But we now understand different types of orientation. Now we see job analysis, job evaluation, and compensation. So these are the different terms that are used. Okay, we'll take a 5 minutes break and we'll get back now. Okay, we have covered good 10 more than 10 topics. So, hello everyone, welcome back. Let us start studying again. So, what do we see here? We are going to study job analysis concepts. What is job description? A written statement that outlines the duties, responsibilities, and condition of a job. It does not involve changing or upgrading the job itself. This usually comes with the email that this is the job description we are looking for, this is the compensation that we are giving. What is job rotation? The systematic movement of employees from one job to another job to increase variety and reduce monotony. Job assignment refers to allocation of tasks or roles to an employer, doesn't imply enhancement or enrichment. Evaluation. This is used to determine the relative worth of a job for compensation purpose, not for identifying task or hiring criteria. Job evaluation. Just for compensation purpose, how much valuable your work is. Workforce analysis. It assesses the current and future human needs, focusing more on supply and demand of labor rather than the job content. Workforce analysis. It assesses the current and future human resource needs, focusing more on supply and demand of labor rather than the job content. Workload analysis. It focuses on the amount of work and the number of people required to handle that workload. Not specifically on job duties and required competencies. Job analysis. Let's see. Job analysis is a procedure of determining the duties and skill requirement of a job and the kind of person who should be hired for it. In job analysis, broadening of job design refers to techniques such as job enlargement and job enrichment, which involve adding more tasks or giving employees more control or how they perform the task. Job enrichment refers to deliberately upgrading the responsibility, scope, and challenge in an employee's work. It is a vertical expansion of a job where more control, autonomy, and meaningful tasks are added to make the job more motivating and fulfilling. As a result, they directly enhance employee motivation and job satisfaction because employee feels more engaged and valued. In terms of strategic role of human resource management, strategic human resource planning focuses more on forecasting future HR needs and planning to meet those needs, not necessarily the execution policies and behaviors. Focuses more on forecasting future HR needs and planning to meet those needs, not necessarily the execution of policies and behaviors. Strategic human resource auditing involves evaluating the effectiveness and compliance of HR systems. Focusing more on forecasting future strategic human resource planning. Mm, okay. So now these are all, let's say these will be new concepts to you. So it will take time for you to get adjusted to it. So what we'll do is we'll read through it today as we are doing, and tomorrow again we'll come back to it to study it again. That is how you reinforce whatever you have learned in your brain. So first, a strategic role of human resource management. In terms of strategic human resource management, strategic human resource planning focuses more on forecasting future HR needs and planning to meet those needs, not necessarily execution. Strategic human resource auditing involves evaluating the effectiveness and compliance of HR systems. Strategic human resource auditing means involves evaluating the effectiveness and compliance of HR systems. Strategic human resource evaluation focuses on measuring outcomes of HR strategies such as performance metrics. The outcomes of HR strategies such as performance metrics. Strategic human resource management, formulating and executing human resource policies and practices that produce the employee competencies and behaviors the company needs to achieve its strategic aims. Strategic human resource planning focuses more on forecasting future HR needs and planning to meet those needs, not necessarily the execution of policies and behaviors. Strategic human resource auditing involves evaluating the effectiveness and compliance of HR systems. Strategic human resource evaluation focuses. Strategic human resource auditing involves evaluating the effectiveness and compliance of HR systems. Strategic human resource evaluation focuses on measuring outcomes of HR strategies such as performance metrics. Mm, So, strategic human resource evaluation focuses on measuring outcomes of HR strategies. Auditing evaluates the effectiveness and compliance of HR systems. Strategic human resource management, formulating and executing human resource policies and practices that produce the employee competencies and behaviors the company needs to achieve its strategic aims. Formulating and executing human resource policies and practices that produce the employee competencies and behaviors the company needs to achieve its strategic aim. Strategic human resource management. Strategic human resource evaluation focuses on measuring outcomes of HR strategies, such as performance metrics. Strategic human resource auditing involves evaluating the effectiveness and compliance of HR systems. Strategic human resource planning focuses more on forecasting future needs and planning to meet those needs, not necessarily the execution of policies and behaviors. So strategic human resource planning क्या करता है? Focuses more on forecasting. बिटवीन कि अंडर स्टाफिंग ना हो और ओवर स्टाफिंग ना हो, इसलिए वी फोरकास्ट कि व्हाट इज़ द डिफरेंस बिटवीन द एक्सपेक्टेड एम्प्लॉयज एंड द करंट एम्प्लॉय वर्कफोर्स दैट वी हैव. ऑडिटिंग evaluates the effectiveness and compliance of HR systems. Involves evaluating the effectiveness and compliance of HR के systems को. Strategic human resource evaluation measures outcome of HR strategies. कि HR में जो तुमने strategy implement करी उसका outcome क्या आया, ऑडिटिंग कितने इफेक्टिव थे और कितने कंप्लायंट थे एचआर सिस्टम से, इवैल्यूएशन आउटकम क्या आया. Strategic human resource management, formulating and executing human resource policies and practices that produce the employee competencies and behavior the company needs to achieve its strategic aim. 5P model of human resource management. The 5P model of human resource management developed by Randall S. Schuler outlines 5 key elements that must align with organization strategy to effectively manage human resource and achieve competitive advantage. These are philosophy, policies and programs, practices, processes, people. People is the final and most crucial P, emphasizing human capital is central to strategic human resource management. So इनका जो order है first, second, third, fourth, fifth वो भी important है. First comes philosophy based on the principle. Philosophy is the guiding principle and values about people management. Based on that philosophy आप एक policy या program बनाएंगे. Based on that program day to day actions and behaviors implement करेंगे. फिर प्रोसेसेस डेवलप करेंगे हाँ काम कैसे करना है एंड फाइनली पीपल द एक्चुअल एम्प्लॉयज एंड देयर कॉम्पिटेंसी बिहेवियर्स एंड देयर कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशंस. So this is the 5P model. We have to remember this 5P model of strategic HRM. Randall S. Schuler. Philosophy, policies, programs, practices, processes, people. Philosophies, policies, programs, practices, processes, people. Philosophies, policy, programs, practices, processes, people. Philosophy, policy, programs, practices, processes, and people. The crucial P, emphasizing human capital is central. So we mark this as complete. हम देखेंगे what is human capital. So human capital refers to the stock of employee skills, knowledge and capabilities that may not show up in a balance sheet but have significant impact on a firm's performance, है ना. Refers to stock of employee skill, knowledge, human capabilities that may not show up in a balance sheet but have significant impact on a firm's performance. So we will mark this as complete. And next is the logical sequence of SHRM management steps typically involved. Step by step strategic human resource में हम क्या करते हैं? To achieve excellence in human resource management, this is the ultimate strategic goal, the starting point of SHRM. To promote teamwork, one of the core strategies. Okay, achieve group cohesiveness by inculcating participative management. After promoting teamwork, strategic human resource management focuses on group unity and cohesion. Improve participative management. Once participative management is implemented, the next step is to continuously improve it. Okay, once participative management is implemented, the next step is to continuously improve it as a process. Shift focus from statutory participation to total participation. Finally, the long-term shift from basic compliance level participation to genuine and complete involvement of all employees. So, yes. To achieve excellence in human resource management, to promote teamwork, achieve group cohesiveness by improve participative management, shift focus from statutory participation to total participation. This will mark it for now. ये हमने इतना पढ़ लिया, ये हम बाद में देखेंगे. We have studied good around 15 topics. So let's now we have time. Let's practice इसके evaluation. How much portion we have covered? We have covered 30% of the portion. Let's go evaluation. This will be tough for us. हमारा okay इधर भी वो नहीं है. So we need to add a full screen for all rapid fires. Let's see. And out characteristic of industrial relations include. हमें इसका आंसर नहीं पता है, सो हम क्वेश्चंस देखेंगे. लेट्स सी अगर आपको क्वेश्चन एग्जाम में नहीं आता आप कैसे अप्रोच करेंगे. फर्स्ट ऑप्शन हमेशा ए है, तो ए बाय डिफ़ॉल्ट हम पकड़ेंगे और सी डी इज नॉट द आंसर. एन आउट कैरेक्टरिस्टिक ऑफ इंडस्ट्रियल रिलेशन एंड आउटकम ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट रिलेशनशिप इन एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, ये हमने ए ट्रू पकड़ लिया. बी भी तीनों में है. डेवलप द स्किल्स एंड मेथड्स ऑफ एडजस्टिंग टू एंड कोऑपरेटिंग विद ईच अदर, ये भी हो गया. नाउ सी या ई या दोनों, that is the answer. Let's see. Create rules and regulations to maintain harmonious relationship. Yes, this is true, correct. गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट इन्वॉल्व, दिस इज फॉल्स। समटाइम्स गवर्नमेंट इंटरवीन, जो हमें पहले से आंसर से दिख गया कि इसका कुछ रिलेशन नहीं है, और ये मोस्ट प्रोबेबली फॉल्स है। नाउ पार्टीज टू इंडस्ट्रियल रिलेशंस आर एम्प्लॉयज, देयर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एंड एम्प्लॉयज, दिस इज ऑल्सो ट्रू। सो सी और ई दोनों ट्रू है। सो हमें आंसर के बारे में कुछ नहीं पता था, बट हम गैस मारना चाहे तो ये मारेंगे, विच इज़ द करेक्ट आंसर। सो दैट इज़ हाउ यू प्रैक्टिस। हमने अभी 5P मॉडल पढ़ा है। सबसे पहले फिलोसफी आती है, फिर आई थिंक पॉलिसीज़ आती है, लास्ट में पीपल आता है, उसके पहले प्रोसेसेस आता है, उसके पहले कुछ बीच वाला कुछ वैल्यूज है। फिलोसफी, प्रोग्राम्स, प्रैक्टिस, प्रोसेस, प्रोग्राम्स, प्रैक्टिस, प्रोसेस, एंड लास्ट इज पीपल, विच इज़ द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट। सो ये हमने अभी पढ़ा था। Which of the following are the involvements of the strategic human resource management and corporate strategy? Okay, let's see. Human resource management is fully integrated with strategy and strategic needs of the firm. ये बोल सकते हैं। ए तो होगा। ह्यूमन रिसोर्स मैनेजमेंट, एच स्ट्रेटेजिक ह्यूमन रिसोर्स मैनेजमेंट के बारे में पूछ रहे। ओके। ह्यूमन रिसोर्स पॉलिसीज cohere both across policy and across hierarchies, this also could be true। ए एंड बी, इन दोनों में से सी या डी में से एक होगा आंसर। Human resource practices are adjusted, accepted, and used by line managers and employees as part of their daily work. Could be human resource architecture is composed of system, practice, competencies, and employee performance behavior that reflect the development and management of the firm's human resource. ये हमने आर्किटेक्चर का वर्ड कहीं नहीं पढ़ा, ह्यूमन रिसोर्स आर्किटेक्चर अभी तक हमने जितने टर्म्स पढ़े। सो वी विल अज्यूम डी नहीं है, वी विल गो विथ ए बी सी और समथिंग लाइक दैट। ए बी सी एंड ए बी डी है। सो दिस वील हैव टू स्टडी। अभी ये भी हमें पता नहीं है। लेट्स सी। विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग लेबर लॉज आर रिलेटेड टू वर्किंग आवर्स, कंडीशंस ऑफ सर्विसेज एंड एम्प्लॉयमेंट, ये भी आपको दिस ऑल्सो यू हैव टू कीप इन माइंड। ओके, जो आंसर अभी इसमें आप कुछ जिसमें आप कुछ डिड्यूस नहीं कर पाएंगे, कुछ इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं निकाल पाएंगे, आप मार्क करके आगे बढ़िए। इसमें से आप क्या ही सोचोगे? अगर आपको पता है वेजेस एक्ट के बारे में और लेबर लॉस, तो आप आंसर कर पाएंगे, वरना आप ऑप्शंस देखिए, कंपेयर करिए, हो सकेगा तो फाइनल आंसर ढूंढिए, वरना आगे बढ़िए। क्वेश्चन क्या है? विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग लेबर लॉज आर रिलेटेड टू वर्किंग आवर्स, कंडीशंस ऑफ सर्विस एंड एम्प्लॉयमेंट, विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग लेबर लॉज आर रिलेटेड टू वर्किंग आवर्स, कंडीशंस ऑफ सर्विस। अभी ये अगर पता है तो पता है, नहीं पता है नहीं पता है। पेमेंट ऑफ वेजेस में हो सकता है, मोस्ट ऑप्शन आर टू ऑप्शन, तो टू में अस्यूम करूँगा सही है। ट्रेड यूनियन में वर्किंग आवर्स दिया होगा, दिस इज माय अजम्पशन, बट इधर है ही नहीं। फैक्ट्रीज एक्ट में भी दिया होगा कितना फैक्ट्रीज कितने आवर्स काम कर रहा है। आई वुड गो विद बी सी डी एंड आई डोंट नो इफ इट्स रॉन्ग, राइट, लेट्स सी एंड डी। फैक्ट्रीज और माइंस, नाउ रिमेंबर इट फॉर द नेक्स्ट टाइम, फैक्ट्रीज एंड माइंस में लेबर लॉ दिया है। should be avoided by interviewers, ये हम देख सकते हैं। establish easy and informal relationship, yes। analyze career and strength to reveal strength, weakness and pattern, yes। asking leading questions, no। plunge too quickly into demanding questions, no। so A, B और E है, this we have studied। easy should be avoided, so avoided should be C and D। What is the maximum size of number of representatives in the joint मैंने, अभी ये आपको या तो पता होगा या नहीं होगा। हमेशा ऐसे क्वेश्चन में सबसे बिग आंसर मार्क नहीं किया जाता है, सबसे छोटा आंसर मार्क किया नहीं जाता है, इनके बीच में होता है 12 ओनली और 16। सो आई विल गो विथ 16। आंसर वॉज 12। 50-50 चांस था, वी हैव रिड्यूस्ड इट फ्रॉम 25%। So this will happen, this is our initially we are going through it, so we are facing this issue, that's okay। Now this is done, so tomorrow again we'll try to study this, and yeah, I'll see you tomorrow। this is our day 19, tomorrow will be day 20, we will be covering 1/3, हमारा 33% of the time पूरा हो चुका होगा, हमने 20 hours दे चुके होंगे पढ़ाई के लिए। so good, we will complete that milestone tomorrow, it's very good। so also thank you for the support of everyone, because of your support I'm able to go on, otherwise we don't know, yeah। thank you for participating, for reminding me to keep this series going, and hopefully we'll complete this to 60 days, so see you tomorrow। in the 60 day 60-minute series of UGC NET Management. Thank you.